Good morning. Welcome to the Barrel Roll Newscast for January 25th, 2020.
Whoa.
Today's show includes echoing, but also the Obiwan TV show. We've got updates on the Marvel Hulu shows, Knights of the Old Republic remake, or remaster, rumored to be in existence, more video game delays, as well as details about the PlayStation 5 launch event.
Stay tuned!
So close.
Hello, everybody.
So close. Welcome to the big show.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show where we talk about news, movies,
Yes,
games.
we do.
Everything else in between.
We do indeed. I'm looking to make sure there's not an actual,
Wow.
echoing device on here.
I think that would be like if we went to like a museum or something like that that was like nerdy.
So life event?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything else in between.
We'll not talk about life events?
On the post-credit show.
Every once in a while.
I could talk about life events.
Or we could talk about
none.
nerd stuff that happens to us locally.
Sports.
Yeah, sports. Sometimes we do that. I hear sports is a thing.
We have to trade Connor McDavid.
Why?
He's not the fastest. Yeah, he's not the fastest skater in the world anymore. So.
Oh, well, that we're
echoing again.
I know, because it's coming out of the TV. I don't know why.
Mute the TV. Mute the TV. Time to mute.
Yeti microphone.
Time to mute the TV. That's all we gotta do. That's all it is. You gotta do. It's just mute it. Just put some duct tape over it, and then it'll just slowly die out. Wait, what are we talking about?
Yes, Connor McDavid. He's the slowest skater in the world now. So,
okay. Yes. Apparently, he's sluggish.
Yeah.
So, speaking of other sluggish pieces of news,
Obiwan.
Yeah.
The much anticipated TV show coming to Disney Plus.
Yes.
Appears to be put on hold.
Yes.
Reports state that production has stalled.
Yes.
A little bit.
Bit.
Most likely due to creative differences. That's usually the reason why. It sounds like
I have a quote.
it does suck that this show is it is what it is.
Didn't
but
one of us anticipate it? Didn't one of us anticipate it?
Well, no. I mean, we can. I think all of us are anticipating in general. But the fact that they were so far in pre-production, getting the scripts all done, basically getting the sets all done. They were hiring people for like PA's job. Like people were working on this project. It appeared like it was coming out in 2021, right? So
that one's so confusing. All right. Either way,
but
a quote from Ewan McGregor. It just slid into next year, that's all. The scripts were really good. I think now that episode 9 came out and everyone at Lucasfilm got more time to spend on writing, they felt like they wanted more time to spend on... Lucasfilm got more time to spend on writing, they felt like they wanted more time to spend on the writing for the show. I've read about 80-90% of what they've written so far, and it's really, really good. Instead of shooting this August, they just want to start shooting in January.
So
according to Ewan McGregor, who obviously has to schedule this stuff around...
Yes.
He's going back in January to
Next year.
Yes.
So most likely either 2021 or even later.
We've moved 6 months essentially.
Who knows?
From where we were going to have it. Nothing more dramatic than that. It often happens in projects. They just want to push it to next year. It will have the same release date. I don't think it will affect the release date. They're still shooting towards the film show release when it was going to be originally. So we'll see.
Well, so does that mean that even if they were still working on production until in August, that it was still going to release the same time?
That's what it sounds like.
So then that means now there's going to be a massive crunch for that show.
And it depends. And
if they're filming now in January and say it's supposed to be out in the summertime.
But if they're bringing more people in from like production from the movies to try and help out with the shows, then
I don't think you understand. Yeah, I think you underestimate. I underestimate the power. There's a lot of work that goes into these Disney Plus shows.
oh yeah, no, it'll be delayed.
I don't think it's gonna hit the original date.
I don't think it will.
It's I still think it'll be like either late 2021 or early like January 1st, 2022. That's my suspicion.
No.
Just because of
Late 2021.
Late 2021. So the only bonus feature here is, or the only bonus thing here is it's not like if Ewan McGregor still has a schedule that he has to.
Well, it sounds like he still is very much part attached to this project, which is at least there's something to that. But as far as we know, yeah, they were full steam ahead until this.
I think they were full steam ahead, and then
something happened.
Well, so the early things that I read when it first got announced was that the show was supposed to be based on Luke or Obiwan like having to babysit Luke and Leia, and the show was too similar to The Mandalorian because it was essentially this like adult figure watching a baby, and they're like, we just did that with a show, and then everybody's like, wait, Luke and Leia?
Maybe that's what the Star Wars universe turns into, a babysitting.
It's just a
babysitter's club.
It's just a pacifier.
Yeah. But with Obi-Wan, but with lightsabers and blasters. Yeah. So it's one of those like, it's interesting to see why they're doing what they're doing. But,
I don't.
But if Ewan McGregor is scheduled to be on a set, then
I still agree with if that's the original like piece of it. I still agree with Luke being
not actually
like Obi-Wan looking after Luke, because that's kind of what would happen. That's where that character would be if. Well, I guess we don't even know what the time period is for the show yet. Like how
obviously he's going to be
how far after the Clone Wars, how far before New Hope.
If he's babysitting, then that sounds like almost right after.
I would assume it's after Revenge of the Sith.
Like right after.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because again,
if you go when he's too old, Luke would just know things, and he's not supposed to know things.
Right. Luke has to be a baby.
I feel like they also need to write in the weird writing for A New Hope about how Alec Guinness's Obi-Wan doesn't know Dick all. Like he must have to like get amnesia or something like that.
No.
I feel like they need
How
to.
does he not know all?
There are points in A New Hope where he's like, I don't recognize this droid, or like I haven't heard.
He's also playing dumb.
I feel like they can just play it off as
like they write that,
exile,
or that's what I'm saying. Like they need to write that. I feel like they could loop that into the narrative somehow.
Yeah,
I feel cool.
I figured that was always just the case when all of a sudden it's like R2-D2 and Obi-Wan Kenobi were clearly together a lot, and it's like,
and it makes sense that the droids that don't remember because they've always
they
wiped the droids.
Yeah.
Memories, but like Obi-Wan's,
I think
it's hard to wipe. It's hard to wipe his memory.
Yeah, and then he just never got the chance to tell Luke that, like, because he died.
They were together for a long time.
So,
not really.
Enough
about it. It was like a day or two.
Yeah, and you didn't know if Luke would turn to the dark side. Can't be trusting that little twerp with all your secrets.
Well,
he gave him his dad's lightsaber.
Considering the family history,
yeah,
there's reason not to trust him.
Exactly.
So this show, unfortunately, it is where it is. I think it's fine, but it's
again, I would rather them take a break from a show if it's not.
There's a lot of things that are taking breaks.
Yeah,
I mean, we talked about. I don't know if you had talked about the Hannah Montana one.
Yes.
At some point, no, not Hannah Montana. Lizzie McGuire.
Lizzie McGuire. Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, like even that one seems to be. Well, that one's a bit of a more.
That one's a little crazier.
That's a little more.
Again, this one, like with Obi-Wan, even if we're bringing in, Jon Favreau and like even Dave Filoni, who does the Clone Wars stuff, to try and like make sure everything is spot on. I would rather them take the break and make sure everything is.
Is the Clone Wars final season on Disney Plus? Are they doing that episodically, like weekly thing, or are they doing all? They're dropping all of the new season.
I don't know if they've said.
Are they dropping all of them at once or no?
I don't know.
Because
I think that would be just drop it week to week.
I think they do drop it week to week too.
If it's
if it's a Disney Plus original.
Yeah. These technically are.
Correct, even though it's advertised as the final season.
Well, and it's funny because
I love the marketing behind it.
Well, some people it's like they can't put Disney Plus original, and it's like technically LucasArts or Lucasfilm has always been the one making the show. They've just been financed by other people. And they're like, so then it should be a Lucasfilm original, and it's like, who owns Lucasfilm, right? Like, Disney could just change the name of Lucasfilm whenever they wanted to Disney Film and call it a day. Like, they can put whatever the heck they want. They
did it
own
with
the
Fox.
company that... Well, exactly.
They did it with
gotten rid-
Fox.
As was on the board last week. You know, the Fox name is now
gone.
stripped
They
of
Thanos
21st
it.
century.
They Thanos it. The Fox. I'm surprised no one's done that GIF yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's...
So, yes, for sake of quality,
I think I'm okay with it still.
I'm cool with delays.
Oh, yeah.
That's my look at video games, movies,
But-
anything. As long as something's going to get delayed for quality purposes.
It's hard to see. It's hard to know how much behind the scenes, right? It could be Ewan McGregor spinning it. It could be Dyer. It could be not.
You know what? I think after all this time, Ewan McGregor wouldn't be...
But he's also been the face of this entire
I know, but he
project,
wouldn't be
too.
that positive about it if he wasn't positive about it. He'd be more like before, where it was, you know, we'd really like you in an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, and he's like, you know, if they call, I'll do it. Like, just how coy he was. I feel like same thing with this would be like, why are the delays? And he's like, I don't know, it's above my pay grade. Like, you know, because he's not a producer, he's not a this, he's not a that. Like,
I thought he was producing this series.
No.
Oh, he's not, hey?
So that's
Okay.
the piece. Is like it's one of those. He could have been very much just like I do not know. All I know is like, you know, they'll get me back when it's ready to get moving again. So that's cool. It's not cool, but it's cool. At least we're still getting it. Whereas yes, the Lizzie McGuire show, we know.
That one went in a very southward direction.
Well, because the show creator
Still is.
left.
Still is.
Yeah, like when you're showrunner and show creator, vamos. It's like, oh.
Yep.
That one's a little bit more drastic than, again, this one where I feel like after the success of The Mandalorian and then the not-so-great success of Episode 9, and again, not so great success still being like they made $1 billion worldwide, but
I still think it's great.
I enjoyed the film, but again,
Not
like...
my favorite film, but...
And that's the piece, is like, Mandalorian came out and most people were like, yeah! Episode 9 came out and people were like, oh, it was a
They made another video game movie.
That's a good movie. Like, so retool everything, make sure it's cool, and again, now that
who knows-
Dave Filoni's probably done on Clone Wars...
We don't know who's attached to this project right now. That's. I don't think we even really knew before.
No, they didn't announce anybody. So that's the piece, is like, if we
Maybe,
have...
It could have been a situation where they never even had anyone.
Correct. Now they're just fine-tuning things. So that's that
Yes.
piece. Speaking of more stuff kind of getting... Well, this stuff just got plain old canceled.
Hulu TV shows.
Yes, Marvel Hulu TV shows. We had Tigra and Dazzler,
Oh,
Ooh.
no.
which I didn't even know was supposed to be a show.
Yeah, I think that was the news about this. A lot of people were thinking about.
The other one I knew was happening, it was the Howard the Duck animated show.
Yeah.
It got canceled, so it's done.
They couldn't get Seth Green to voice him again.
Well, Kevin Smith was writing, and as of last month, they were still writing. And now he's done, and then, of course, they interviewed Kevin Smith, and he's like, had to be done. Like, Kevin Feige has a vision. We don't fit in that vision. Like, so, you know, and again, he's probably sad.
Probably has other plans for them.
But that's the piece, is like, at the same time, Kevin Feige probably went to that group of people going like, okay, how are the Ducks canceled? But, like, we love what's coming in. So
They could have moved him to a different project.
Exactly.
And we don't know.
So,
That Kevin
and
can't talk about.
talk about, which is hard for Kevin Smith, so. Because he likes to talk about every project under the sun, so.
Yeah.
Either way, no Howard the Duck, no Tigra and Dazzler. That's
Oh,
really
no.
it's eaten away.
Tiger, I don't know.
Well, I mean, they can't do Dazzler if they're going to get Jubilee coming up soon.
Can't wait for the Jubilee solo film.
Did you see that
Yeah.
Warp Zone video? Oh my god, I love that video. We're going to give you a video. Who? Me? Yeah.
You're young and plucky
You're new.
and relatively unknown. We can make a movie out of you.
We did it with Guardians. We can do it with you.
Yeah. The rest of the X-Men are like,
What?
what?
No.
I did read some articles about the future of mutants in the MCU.
Yep.
And there has been Patrick Stewart did talk to Kevin Feige. Like they actually had an official meeting, and Kevin Feige totally understands he does not want to come back.
And that's...
I think the big piece about that interview was apparently Patrick Stewart would have been totally on board with it if Logan didn't exist. I guess Patrick Stewart's view of where he brought Xavier in Logan was like the penultimate, that's it. That's where I want to bring that character. It is like,
and to be fair, for both of those guys, like that's a solid send off.
Oh yeah, Yeah,
yeah.
when I was reading the interview, I'm like, oh man, I want to watch Logan again. The movie's that was an amazing
that's a
film.
solid send off. You don't want to.
You don't want to touch on that.
Well, and you don't want to risk, because X-Men movies are.
They've got their
So that's the piece is like
New
you don't want to
Mutants.
do something like Logan where
or
legitimately
retread on Logan, like bring
or-
that character back. Kind
yeah,
of piece. Or
but like they put a lot of themselves into that movie and it turned out really well. And
It was-
fans liked it. Like
it was
everybody,
100% a swan song
Right.
piece for Hugh Jackman,
and everybody loved it. And then you don't want to go back and do the Disney X-Men movie, and for whatever reason, it's and all of a sudden you've gone from
this like Oscar-winning piece
to
it's mediocre.
yeah. And kudos to Marvel too for
At least acknowledging and recognizing.
well, but
it.
talking to him, going like, Kate, we need to find a new direction, so let's.
Like we recognize that you have played this character for many years.
Well, and he is Professor X. Like that's that piece of like even getting Samuel L. Jackson for Nick Fury was very much in the comics. In Ultimate Comics, they based Nick Fury off of Samuel L. Jackson. Like, well, we got to get this guy.
Mm-hmm. Even Nick Fury himself references that.
Right.
Where there's a panel in the comics where someone asks Fury like, "Oh, if they ever made a movie on you, who would play you?" Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, but that's
Like
the piece. Is like,
it comes full circle.
but that's like Patrick Stewart is Professor X.
Very much so. And I'm not
James
saying
McAvoy.
like I was just gonna say James McAvoy did a good young Professor
Sure,
X,
he was
How
but
he went bald was weird.
pancake.
but yeah, I don't agree with that piece.
Wait, what?
How he went bald.
Oh.
That's
He's
poor.
part
That was poorly written.
Apocalypse.
That's poorly written.
A lot of that was.
But yeah,
poorly
Hugh
written.
Jackman.
But again, why would you come back to being a poorly written something when you've already done something really epic that also ended things?
Yeah, it's a very good swan
Yeah,
song
yeah.
piece for both Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart,
Yep.
and probably even Ian McKellen too, for Magneto. I don't think
he's not going to come back.
I don't think he's.
And Ian McKellen doesn't have to come back.
No, like all three of those guys are so set off. They don't need to. Like they're on Broadway. They are.
Yeah, well, they don't care. They have money.
Patrick Stewart has his Picard show.
Here, that's okay.
And Ian McKellen was in Cats, so
And
but
put down.
Picard is better.
well, that's yet to be seen. Have you seen
No.
Cats yet?
No,
Have you seen Picard yet?
from what I've heard,
Ah, but
everyone.
Do you want to
Picard.
see Picard? Do you want to see Cats? Do you want?
I want to see the train wreck that is Cats.
No, I don't want to see.
You have to
I'm not
find
paying for it.
You have to
I'm
find
not
it
into
pre-patch
musicals.
though. You have to
Yeah,
find
I gotta
it
find
pre.
it You know what? I think even post-patch, still gonna be the movie I'm expecting.
I don't know what else I expected, but
See, I don't like musicals, so
I love musicals.
No, I love
watch
musicals.
But I don't know.
I
what-
also enjoyed Cats on Broadway, but because not on Broadway, but like I've enjoyed Cats in the theater. I enjoy Cats as a musical. Again, I don't know why they didn't just.
and I think I would enjoy Picard.
Yeah. It's actually funny with Cats. So I was reading this whole thing with Cats. So the director that did Les Mis made a nightmare of himself with Les Mis because they always pre-record tracks for musicals. Because again, singing on a stage is different than singing in a sound stage, or a movie stage. He made sure that like they were recording all of their vocals live. So if you watch Les Mis, that's actually them singing in those moments at that time. But it makes for a like pain in the butt when it comes to editing. So that movie took like twice as long in editing to make sure all of the sound was right, because like a mic picks up sound differently in one take than it does in the next sort of thing. So if they were singing funny and they switch angles, all of a sudden they have to switch to the new audio. Right, like so it messed up that, so they had to like fine tune all of the audio in post-production instead of just recording them in a sound studio that's meant for them to sing in.
That's bold.
But that was his whole like, it's artsy. This time he pre-recorded all of the vocals because he's like, we're not going through that process again, but didn't put anybody in motion capture suits and was just like, the CGI people can fix it later. So all the people are legitimately just in like sweatpants and t-shirts.
Yeah, I've seen the.
And
This is the
the
cats.
digital artists had to overlay them with the cat costumes.
There's a full like featurette about how they made this weird like skin fur tech.
But again, that would have been cool if they were already in like the cat leotards from like the stage show, and then they just added some extra pieces to it.
No, they made it terrifying.
But that's because like Taylor Swift is running around in sweatpants and a t-shirt, and they have to go like, okay, we have to make her look like a cat.
What was that word they made up for that movie or the play? It was like
Which one?
for that one song, and they keep
Oh yeah. Yes.
Whatever that word is,
Yeah.
that made up word is. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Okay.
Thing doesn't make sense.
I'm not a huge fan of Cats. I enjoyed Cats. It's not my kind of musical. It's like Les Mis. Well, actually, I hate Les Mis, but
I'll take Phantom of the Opera over all of those.
music.
I will take Sweeney Todd.
Also, a good
Sweetie
one.
Toss, yeah, good time.
So I don't know.
Moving on. We've got rumors. And
We got lots of rumor. Well, we
Yeah.
got yeah.
Yes.
We got more.
We got
rumors
rumors
Yeah.
coming up.
Video
Knights of the
game.
Old Republic.
It's a game.
It's a really good game.
Yes.
I own it on Steam.
I own it
That
on
game,
a lot of things.
that game looks like it does not age well visually.
No.
It does not age well.
No.
You
None
wanna
of
make-
those old BioWare games
No.
age well.
You know what will make it age well?
A reboot.
A remaster.
Yeah.
A remaster.
So the rumor is either a remaster or a sequel.
I suspect it will be in line with new console launches. I suspect
Probably.
these will be in line with like a PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X.
Reboot or sequel?
I think a reboot. I think they go from the ground up.
I think that's
Is it
not
BioWare doing it?
Probably not.
We don't know yet.
BioWare didn't make the second one.
No, I think Texas did that one, didn't they?
Someone did, yeah.
I think the Texas team did that one.
But it wasn't even BioWare on the name. It was someone else. So, but yeah, that's the
But
piece.
Knights
Like,
of the Old Republic
if you're
remaster,
remaking one of these games, it's not BioWare doesn't have to even touch it. So
and it's just EA, right?
Well, it's
So
their property, so they have to have permission.
nope,
No,
it's
it's
EA
EA.
that owns it because
Yeah.
LucasArts owns it. Well, LucasArts owned it. Now Disney owns it. They gave the rights to EA, so EA technically can do whatever they want.
yeah,
with
they
the
can
property.
they can give it to DICE and say like, hey, make
Make it a first-person shooter.
yeah,
Yeah.
make it a car crashing game.
Yeah.
Also, just make Burnout in the Star Wars universe. Just do that. Criterion, go
Pod
crazy.
racing.
Oh wait, hold on. What kind of game were we talking about again? Oh, right, Knights of the Old Republic.
No, I want pod racing.
We've
Screw Knights of the Old Republic.
We've always wanted that.
I want pod
We've
racing
always
HD.
and get Criterion to work on
Burnout
it.
style.
They can do crashes.
I just need pod racing HD. It can be the exact same game. I loved that game.
Everyone loved that game.
I know, and then they came up with the weird like bobblehead pod racing game.
Did you ever play it in arcades? The arcade
Yeah,
one was
this one?
fun.
Yeah.
That was sick.
I could never win anything because I'm not force sensitive enough to.
That's
This is actual pod racing.
meanwhile, you want to buy the $500 pod racing controller?
Yeah,
It's an
no.
actual pod.
Yeah, no, I'm good with
VR headset.
Well, but that was where like Kinect was. They made that Star Wars game for Kinect, and there was a pod racing game in there, and it was like this is going to be awesome because essentially this is what you get to do. And again,
There should be a VR pod racing game.
Correct, and
Why
again-
should there not be a It works. It would work so well.
yeah, that's all you need is.
And then just have someone put a fan in front of you. Yeah.
No, thank
I
you.
feel like you're really there.
I don't want that fan in there.
Heck yeah.
No. It's bad for you.
You'd be making the sound effects all on your own.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm gonna have to.
racing.
This is pod racing. If that game doesn't open up with that line,
EA Sports, it's in the game. This is pod racing.
DLC later. DLC. So Knights of the Old Republic remaster / sequel
/ something.
What's up?
So
Knights of the Old Republic something.
Something.
That actually kind of lines up with the rumors that the next Star Wars trilogy is going to go back to the Old Republic too. So that if it lines up with them
Maybe.
kind of capitalizing on that, like at the same time in a couple of years, that would be really, really cool.
I think that's the sad part of the next Star Wars. Like, again, the Old Republic's kind of neat, but again, we're just gonna get more Jedi stuff, and it's like,
A lot of Jedi.
I know, and
Yeah,
that's
you're gonna
my
get-
problem.
But
is
I think
like-
you're going to get a lot of good Jedi stuff too.
And that's
You're
the
getting-
P. At least it's gonna be better Jedi stuff. But I mean, we were having this conversation with Ross, and it's just like it'd be nice. It's nice when there's less Jedi stuff sometimes. Like
It
even
is, that's true.
Mandalorian's been fun because
I think
again
though-
we get like
I think you go like either
Baby Force-
super hard on the Jedi stuff and then super hard on the not
yeah.
Force stuff.
So we'll
'Cause
see.
there's good narrative in both pieces.
Oh sure.
You can do the non-Jedi stuff in the shows.
Mm-hmm.
Lower budget.
Other than Kenobi's obviously gonna have.
And Darksaber.
Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, so Knights of the Old
Rumor.
Republic.
I suspect this will be a PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X thing. It won't be a current generation.
Scarlet. They haven't named it.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah,
Xbox
Series X.
Series X. That's
Yeah.
the official title. We'll get into more of that in a little bit.
Because they're just They're just upgrading the Xbox, essentially.
Yes.
To a computer.
It's already a computer. I
basically
hate to
a
break this
computer.
to you, but so is a place like...
Yeah, PlayStation 4 is actually pretty easy to make games for.
But like PlayStation
mastering
and
it.
Xbox are just computers.
Yes.
They just block
PlayStation-
off half the operating system.
Remember when PlayStation 3 you could install Linux?
Yeah.
That was great.
But that's right. Well, and at Microsoft especially, it's just running Windows.
It's a modified version of Windows 10.
So
Very modified.
that's why when they're like, we're just gonna do this, and I'm
There's
like,
a reason why
kudos.
that's why the Microsoft Game Store works and the Game Pass works as well as it does.
Well, then again, that's the nice part of even Xbox with their Xbox, like the Series X stuff is, you know, a gaming PC costs X amount of dollars, like thousands of dollars.
Did you guys talk about the Series X stuff at some point in time?
At some point, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, like,
Because I like their idea of not just like if you buy Halo Infinite now
yeah,
and you get a Series X, you just
you just get the upgraded version,
That's super cool.
which is nice. And then like all of your controllers still work, like anything that you like.
And we'll get into the PlayStation 5 and
We will.
Xbox stuff in a second here, but that's I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it's well, and like I say, it's like instead of buying a gaming PC, it's like, hey, buy our Xbox. It's going to be, you know, $400, $500, whatever the price point is, but it's
it
still
might be, it's pretty
they
high.
can't go, if they go higher, they're
the
screwed.
The rumor's very high.
If then they're screwed.
Yeah, the rumor is very high.
'Cause then they're hooped because then I can just buy a PC. Like that's the whole point of the console thing is.
Cheaper.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. Other stuff that
Video games.
yeah. So you guys talked about delays last week. Good
Some.
job. Good stuff with that.
Some
Cyberpunk, obviously. But other things that are being delayed. Dying Light 2.
Yay.
I think got the worst of it all. Of all the delays. Because
It's not coming out.
yeah.
Cool.
They just indefinitely delayed it. There's a article from Techland here.
There's a serious issue.
There's a
Every time the person walks forward, they just explode.
maybe.
That's a serious issue.
So, according to Techland, to our dedicated community, it has been a busy year for us as we continue working on our biggest project to date. We know you're awaiting the game eagerly and want to deliver exactly what we promised. We were initially aiming for a spring 2020 release for Dying Light 2, but unfortunately we need more development time to fulfill our vision. We will have more details in the coming months, and we'll get back to you as soon as we have more information. Apologize for this unwelcome news. Our priority is to deliver an experience that lives up to this high standard. So there's not even a date.
No.
Because like we had Cyberpunk we have a date for that when it got pushed to.
Yep.
What else got delayed last week? Like a crap ton of things got
Yeah.
delayed.
Well, and a lot of this comes from Game Crunch, like becoming
Crunch
more
is-
of a thing. So all these companies are like, okay, like we won't press our people as hard.
I
but-
guess so, but the problem with that is you still have Game Crunch.
Well,
You're still gonna have it at the end, and so I suspect. And the other delayed game is Iron Man VR.
yes.
Iron Man VR is being pushed in. It was gonna come out, I think, next 2 or 3 weeks, but it's actually coming out in May, if I believe. So even that one's getting pushed. I suspect all these video game delays. Avengers. Avengers is a lot of Square Enix games. Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 7 got delayed.
No way.
Whoa. I suspect a lot of these games are getting delayed because they will be debuting cross-platform
Right.
with Xbox Series X, with PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
That's my tinfoil hat theory.
Theory.
Like there's way too many delays for this to be a coincidence.
Yeah. Well, so part of it is new consoles. You know, coming out, want to kit those, and then part of it too, like one of the guys who was the co-creator of Halo started a new company, and their whole thing is like 5-day work weeks.
Yeah,
8-hour jobs.
Someone
sort of
interviewed him
thing.
about the Game Crunch that he had on Bungie.
Right, because he's like, we almost all like
Died
from working on Halo 2. And he's like, so with my new company, we work Monday to Fridays. Everybody gets their weekends. He's like, if someone has like a kid's Christmas concert, we make sure that they go to those concerts, like all of that stuff. And he's like, we still crunch, but it's a team of like people going like, oh, we're almost done this thing. Let's just
Do it.
finish it.
Yeah,
like the
let's
team
get it
is
through.
on board to,
Right, and if they can't handle it, then
they go.
It's pretty flexible.
yeah, like it's not like we got to get this finished. It's oh, we're almost done this, like the next part of our game. Let's get this finished. Like, you know, go team. And he's like, but we feel like we're into it because we're not.
And you get that a lot with the indie developers.
Yeah.
With Iron Man VR, that's being developed by Republic, which is a pretty small development studio. I follow them a lot. They make no, not Republic. Camouflage Entertainment. They made Republic.
Okay.
And so I follow them pretty closely, and yeah, their team is probably like 15 people.
Right.
So for them to score a Marvel IP and be their first real VR game,
yeah,
like it's for them to recognize like we need a couple more months to work on this.
But yeah,
that's cool,
and that's the
I
piece
appreciate
of I think all of these games getting delayed is after BioWare screwed up so much, and then like that piece came out about how hard they work, those people, and just to the point of like people are having nervous breakdowns from working on a game. It's just like, and then all of a sudden everybody's looking into every other video game company.
Well, and the fact it gets worse because that industry is not unionized either.
Right.
So it's
You do the job or you get canned.
yeah.
So now it's like, at least now that the public is kind of more aware of it and is looking into it, we're going to get game delays because these people are actually trying to live their...
I actually read an article
lives.
as well. There's a group of people out there trying to start like a national video game union? association.
Yeah.
I think that's a really, really cool idea, especially for some of those bigger organizations and bigger game developers.
Yeah.
Whether or not it actually happens, I don't think it'll happen anytime in this generation, anyways.
No, but that's like we watched Waking Sleeping Beauty on Disney Plus, which is one of the documentaries about the animators, and it got to that point with them where it was like, we need to pump out like, so many movies a year from Disney, so the animators were pretty much going from one movie to the next movie, and they're like, but then we got famous, like we started doing really well, so they started paying us really well, so we just kept working on these like crunch deadlines of like let's just go, and
they were
like
properly
we left our
compensated.
families, like all of this stuff, like there was divorces happening all over the place, and they're like, we didn't care because we were driving Beamers into our parking lot, and like we were riding the high of all of this stuff, and then like it finally crashes, and they just
it sucks.
and you go. So it's cool when I read that article of that guy where he's like, yeah, if we crunch, but we decide on it as a team, like, we want to get this done and do it. It's not a, like, the calendar is scheduled to, like, this is crunch week, and you're all staying for 16 hours. It's like, we just get into it, and we're all feeling it, and we're just a bunch of buddies coding for, 16 hours and actually having fun with it. And that's where... And again, we get better games out of it. Because, Anthem, where... They
something okay. Anthem more things other than crunch happened with.
Well, but part of it was they were relying on the crunch to bring the game together. Like that's
motivate them?
Well, no, that's how they've always worked. Is like, oh, come crunch time, like everything just starts to coalesce and work together, and nothing came together because everybody was already dead because they had been crunching already.
You want to talk about that game crunches like Final Fantasy 14,
sure,
or 11, 14, whatever the online one is.
Yeah.
There was that one that crashed. Obviously, Halo 2.
Yeah.
When they didn't even have time to put an ending into the game.
Right. But that's what I mean. It's like you've already overworked people to the point where you're expecting, because at the end there's going to be a crunch. Because
that's just how it works.
Bug fixes and editing and
you fix a bug and then you put it away and then there's like
12 more bugs that pop up, so you put the other bug back in because it's better to have the one than the 12.
And then you have to evaluate if this is something that we can ship with.
Right. So I understand like end crunch, but because I mean most jobs have
you can never anticipate that kind of stuff.
No, and most jobs have a moment where it's like, oh, I have to put in a little extra here, a little extra there. It shouldn't be the entire development though that you're like, oh my god, my deadline is tomorrow, and it's like, when did they give you the project? And it's like 2 minutes ago. And it's like, what do you have to program? A flying spaceship that like you can control with 6 different varieties. I also have to design it, and
I have to model it. I have to give it all the sound effects.
Yeah. How long do you have? 14 hours. 14 hours. 14 hours. 14 hours. I got this.
And then, I mean, like it's good that games are getting delayed. Honestly, in my mind.
And
like,
some of them need it.
Yeah. Like CD Projekt Red is very, very open about that kind of stuff.
And yes, out of all the companies there, when they're like, we're delaying this, and it's like, okay. That's like when Blizzard used to delay games, and you're like,
yeah,
okay, because that means you're going to make them better.
And now they are where
You've learned your lesson, right?
What?
You've learned your lesson with that?
No. One day they'll return to form, and I'll be there.
With the dance studio.
I'm still there, so I'll let you know.
On the front lines.
I'm still there.
I'm still there with Blizzard. It's fine. Warcraft 3 is on my list.
No.
But either way, so yeah, game's delayed, but again, it's one of those... I'd rather them delay stuff and make a better product.
Meanwhile, you can play Doom Eternal in a couple of weeks.
Heck yeah.
Bethesda had the smart idea of delaying into 2020, not out of 2020.
So, yeah. And then last but not least...
so PlayStation 5 is a console. We saw the logo at CES. It looks like a 5.
Yep,
It's
they
got
put
a
a
5.
5 behind
Looks like
the...
a PSS.
It's PSS.
It kind of, yeah, almost.
Oh my god, all the cats just came. All the cats just came. But there was I think it was on 4chan, a big leak dropped recently about details of when we're going to know about PlayStation 5 stuff. So launch date, price, titles. There's a massive launch event, and apparently it's coming in February, which actually coincides with a lot of these game delays, game pushbacks, because if it really is, if CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk's getting pushed back, if Iron Man's getting pushed back, if Dying Light 2 is being pushed back to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X launch, that makes a lot of sense. The leak talked about, I can pull a little bit more details about it here. Furthermore, they speculated that Horizon Zero Dawn will be launching on the PC.
Yes.
That doesn't actually surprise anyone. Well, it does and it doesn't. With Death Stranding coming to PC, it's the same engine.
Yes.
But I think that the weirdest part about this is that Horizon Zero Dawn will be the first, if it does come on PC, it'll be the first official Sony-developed, Sony-published game on Steam or Epic or whichever platform or both.
Clearly, the PlayStation Store available
Rockstar,
on
Yeah.
obviously
the PlayStation launcher available on PCs later this year. Yep.
Let's see here. Launch details. According to the leak, Gran Turismo 7, MLB The Show 2021 or 21, Demon Souls Remastered, Godfall. We saw that earlier, and apparently Godfall.
A cinematic trailer. Yeah.
No, actually, there was a leaked gameplay piece about it a couple days ago, and the developers actually came out and acknowledged it and said, like, what you guys saw in the leak is what we were aiming for. We'll see you guys very soon. And literally with that also coincides with this leak of we'll see you guys a February event about the PlayStation 5 reveal. As well as a brand new IP from Santa Monica Studios, so the guys that brought God of War. They're making a game called Legends with a Z.
Instead of
fighting game.
Or a
Another
MOBA. It sounds like a
Battle Royale.
PlayStation Battle Royale All-Stars 2. Let's do this.
Legends.
It's not actually a Z, it's a 2.
Let's see here. Further details about the PlayStation 5 launch. Not as expensive as we initially are thinking.
What are we initially thinking?
I was going to say, what are we initially thinking?
The leak price says it's going to be around $4.99.
I'm down.
That's not bad. So Canadian, it'll be like $5.50-ish. The leak also went into details about the Xbox launches and how those are going to be coinciding with the PlayStation. The Xbox Series X is coming up to around $600. Yeah, it's getting pretty pricey. He also anecdoted that with the fact that there's going to be a lower tier Xbox Series X
one?
or a discless one or something like that. That will be a little bit more. That will still play the news.
I thought that's what the discless thing was supposed to save them money.
And well, this one's going to be a lower powered version of that.
It'll just have
Xbox.
less RAM in it and stuff.
Less RAM. Maybe the hard drive will be a little bit different. Less hard drive space. A non-pro model. So it sounds like Xbox is going to be doing the whole like a phone thing release where they have the regular
Series
phone.
X, Series this, Series that.
Yeah.
Like they're going into the series version of stuff.
Whereas PlayStation, they're just coming out with a single SKU at launch.
For now.
Yeah, for now.
Because they're rebranding as Slim.
Right. They always
and Pro.
Right, but not out the gate is the big piece. Is when Microsoft launches their Series stuff, X stuff, later this year.
They'll give you options.
Yeah, you can have like a Pro model or a regular model, whereas PlayStation is just one.
I'll wait for the PlayStation 5 Pro Spider-Man edition.
And that was another part of the leak, is that those are the launch lineups of the PlayStation 5.
God of War 2.
Talked about some games. Reportedly, Horizon Zero Dawn will be like a remastered version of that will appear on the PlayStation 5, as well as the obviously Spider-Man will be teased. It sounds like. One more, and a new Crash Bandicoot game.
I don't need that.
It's weird.
I'll buy
a
new
Crash Bandicoot game.
PlayStation 5 day one.
Sure. They are doing another sci-fi game from the Naughty Dog guys, so Uncharted, from the Uncharted dudes. They're making brand new sci-fi IP.
Sci-fi. Uncharted in space.
Final Fantasy 16. Dear God.
Can't even get Final Fantasy 7 out, so
I know. Let's just
16.
keep going. Yeah, we can't count very well.
We're gonna get 10 above 7.
What is it about? What is it about game developers that can't count very well? Square, Valve. Final Fantasy 16, a brand new Resident Evil game.
Brand new. Sweet.
Yes. 8 or something else.
Maybe 8.
What lends this leak
13.
a lot of credence is that they also claimed the launch, like the quote, like the back of the promo quote will be time to play, or it's a time to play.
Yeah.
And then like a couple days afterwards, the PlayStation Europe Twitter account changed their profile to it's time to play.
Yeah.
So it appears that this leak will be it seems to be on point.
We'll see.
February
we'll see
5th.
February 5th.
February seems to be
We'll
the
get
date.
an exact date. What date?
Yeah,
Book
well,
off
no.
work.
February 6th.
And pre-orders.
Okay.
And honestly, I think
work.
this is a really good power play from Sony. Seeing that they're already not going to E3.
Yep.
Microsoft tried to come out with gun swinging at the VGAs, saying like, "This is the Series X. We'll see you soon." With Sony coming right out of the gate and just kind of diarrheaing all this information on us, that would be a really good move for them. Well, exactly. If this date is a thing coming up before E3, they'll have probably another play event before E3 or after it around that time. I mean,
a couple of days before.
And honestly, E3 is so weird now. Anyways, it's
mostly just the other developers now, other than
the show spaces
Microsoft's still going.
Yeah, Microsoft still will be there.
yeah, but
Microsoft, I would expect to back out in a couple of years.
yeah, I was gonna say they'll be done in a couple, because Nintendo pretty much just sends them a video.
Yep.
It's like,
There you go.
well, yeah, like Nintendo's just like, our video will launch at 11 o'clock on this day.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we'll have like a stage show if you guys want.
We'll be on the floor, like you can come and talk to us.
Because they usually run those like live streams from the show floor talking about
because they just have they have their little couch set up for their treehouse or whatever.
Which is so smart.
But again, that's all they have to do, because why spend money on an auditorium with a stage with like all of the production
all the
values?
streaming pieces.
Yeah,
You have to having to invite tons and tons of media.
Yeah, so screw that noise. Just have
Sony and Nintendo have totally right. Like this is the right way to do it.
And Xbox will get there.
Even Square Enix is doing the right thing too. Like they don't have press conferences either. Like they just.
There's been a few that backed out.
Yeah, E3 is becoming and they still have their meetings. Like all of the Nintendo people still show up and have like the boardroom meetings with Ubisoft and developers and all of that stuff, but we never saw that before anyways. Like, it's a trade show. Technically, that's what they're there to do, is wheel and deal and talk, and that's how Ultimate Alliance 3 or Bayonetta ends up on a Nintendo system and no one else gets it. Like, is because of those trade shows.
A part of that the leak stuff does corroborate the whole backwards compatibility all the way to the start of the era with PlayStation.
Well, see.
Like if you think I was thinking about how this whole backwards compatibility stuff works now. If you're releasing a PlayStation 5 in this day and age with the rumored specs that it has, this amazing hard drive, everything in there, emulating a PlayStation 1 game should be trivial.
Correct.
Emulating a PlayStation 2 game should be
trivial.
It could be it should be fine.
It's just the library it would be tough.
No, it's not even.
There's a lot of games.
It's not even that. If you have the disc,
if you have the disc,
put it in, it goes.
Yeah.
That's the main piece. PlayStation 3 gets a little bit more complicated because they switched over to that weird ass emotion engine. That they had to try. Like, there's a reason why Metal Gear Solid 4 exists only on the PlayStation 3, because no one wants to do the legwork to backwards engineer what Kojima did to get that game working on the PlayStation 3.
Right.
So PlayStation 3 emulation, it's doable.
Sure.
4 should be fine because it's...
If you're building off of 4 to build 5.
Right. So the 4 should be no issue.
Yeah.
I think the report was that it's PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, look at that, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PSP.
Nah.
No Vita. Because I think it had to do with the touchscreen stuff. Because they can't confirm.
Like I can't touch my TV and make things work.
Well, you can touch your TV all you want.
But it's not going to make things work.
Yeah, it might not work.
Unless the controller actually has a little screen on it that you can do.
I don't.
And
the part of the report says that you can still use DualShock 4s.
Which is, and that's the nice part. Even Microsoft's doing the same stuff, where it's just like use your old junk, and it's like
it actually makes a little bit of sense because with them releasing that back button attachment, it kind of
upgrades it to whatever they're doing.
Whatever it does in PlayStation 5. So if you want to play if you want to use DualShock 4 with the 5,
because
just buy the $30 attachment or whatever.
The 5 will probably come with it built in.
Right, or at least the pro version of the 5's controller will have that.
Sure,
it'll come standard somewhere.
Yeah,
and so this leak sounds pretty on point with everything that we've heard so far.
And hopefully, if Microsoft,
I think it's realistic. It's very realistic. It's
that
not
all
like
sounds.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. Hopefully, if PlayStation comes in at 500,
I think it'll be
Microsoft has to retool, because if they come out at 600, like there's nothing an Xbox is doing.
They've done that before.
I know. Yeah, the Xbox One was crazy expensive.
But they came out first.
Barely.
But they still, like, that was their thing, was like,
yeah, but they also shot themselves in the foot at E3 that year. So
that's the thing.
They just have to not have that guy on stage. I know they fired him afterwards.
With PlayStation coming out first, though, or at least with the price coming out first, Microsoft now has time to go like, okay, can we? And again, they haven't given us a price, so it's like
no one has really officially given us
right. So if PlayStation's the first one to drop the price, then all of a sudden Microsoft can be.
It's a huge power play before E3.
Sure, but then because then Microsoft has to go. Okay, do we lose money on our system a little bit more,
or do we try to shove more features in this? Do we put that HDMI in back in?
I like the HDMI throughput.
I don't like it.
I dig it. It works like my TV. It's one less HDMI input that I have to use, so it's works for me.
I think you were a very small minority.
No, if I when I looked online, because the one thing I was looking online for was picture-in-picture, because it would have been really nice to have like my hockey game down here and then play.
That was the dream.
That was and so apparently it wasn't the dream, because everybody was like, no, TV thing works fine, because I can control again my. Like, I can get my guide open with my Xbox controller, that whole thing, because it's a media center.
The one place that that was their dream.
Right, that was the whole piece, was that everything was supposed to run through your Xbox. And it's like, okay, that's silly. But I can control my satellite box, or my cable box with my controller, so there's that piece. But apparently they asked people if they wanted picture-in-picture, and the majority of people were like, nah, because I'm just going to be playing games. Yeah. So don't waste your time developing that, do other things. So they put their effort somewhere else, because people didn't actually want it. But a lot of people do use the pass-through when I was looking stuff up online, because I'm like, how does this even work? Because that was the one thing they don't explain.
I have no interest in a pass-through.
Again, it's only because it saves an HDMI slot. And TVs these days come with, like, 2.
That's why you have a splitter.
I know, but then my new TV with the splitter wants to kill everything, so...
Not mine.
It sounds like you need to get a different splitter, then.
And that's just it, is like, I'm not spending that much money on a splitter that should just be an HDMI pass-through.
Well, I mean, like, how much does a splitter cost nowadays, right?
20, 25?
Yeah.
Right, and an Xbox is, like, $100, $200?
Sure. So.
Depends on which one you get, obviously, but...
So.
Yeah. But that's what I mean, like...
I don't see their initial...
They showed the back of the Xbox when it's got in it.
Right. That was actually false. They had that was over at the CES.
Oh yeah.
It was an AMD presentation where they were like, "We are working closely with Microsoft to develop the tech that goes inside the Series X. Look at this display that we have here." And it's a PowerPoint presentation, and it rotated.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Those are the ports on there? There's still an HDMI in on there. Oh God, they still want to do the HDMI in." And then like minutes after that, Microsoft was like, or Phil Spencer was like, "No." No. No, that's wrong. And apparently what happened was AMD pulled those pictures off of some like third party
website, like, on there.
Yeah, just as a thing. And even the AMD guy was like backtracking, like, guys, we fucked up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, if that's gonna be like, but again, if Xbox is gonna be an extra $100 over top of PlayStation,
right,
then Xbox really has to come out at E3, because that's where they're gonna do it,
right,
and be like, this is why.
They need to put something in there that makes it
You're gonna spend an extra
Stand
$100.
Right. If I'm gonna play Dying Light,
wise, it looks almost exact same.
They will be, because they always have been for the most part.
So then what would
Because again, I play games on my Xbox versus on my PlayStation. The Witcher's The Witcher.
yeah, it's like sports games are sports games.
Right.
Shooter games are shooter games. It's like it's
Yeah, but like the PlayStation thing. PlayStation has their VR. What is the Xbox?
Correct, but that's, well, Game Pass.
right.
So that's going to cost you $100.
Well, no, but that's the piece, is like, if you're gonna charge me an extra $100,
Especially if Sony's gonna come out of the gate saying like, any PlayStation game you've ever purchased,
right?
it's gonna work.
Yeah.
If they open, because I remember that one E3 where they're like,
I
this is
can't
how you share games with your friends on the PlayStation 4. If they do that with like, this is how you play Metal Gear Solid on your PlayStation 5, and just plays, like, if that's their if that's one of the promotional videos, they're gonna get so many people.
Sure.
Or it's like, this is how you play Final Fantasy 7. It's not coming out fast enough for you. You want to play Final Fantasy 7? There you go. Like, I mean, they don't. That's not the example, but like, it's Gran Turismo or any other like.
Yeah. Well, because
iconic
Xbox is,
PlayStation
I mean, Xbox isn't fully backwards compatible, but even games I've bought on my Xbox
Yeah,
before, like the
it's
digital
pretty
stuff all carried forward.
It seems to be limited. Whereas
So-
the vision that PlayStation seems, or Sony seems to be going with the PlayStation 5 is that even downloadable games
Yeah, that
will
was
just
the same
work.
with...
Will just work.
That's the same with
Yeah.
Xbox.
Like
But that's
everything.
like...
Yeah.
Boy, howdy.
Yeah, like my PS3
My
lineup
external
is
hard drive.
huge.
My external hard drive better.
And that was
I
another
need
part
another
of,
one.
and that's the other part, like with Microsoft doing this whole xCloud streaming thing.
Yeah.
What's like Sony has to keep up with that as well. And with people who have those massive PS3 line or libraries like you and I,
Yeah.
like it's not feasible for us to download that shit.
Yeah.
Do you do a thing where you can stream that content?
I don't even want
Like
to
that would be cool. Like
But that's the piece.
Make
It's
it a
like,
huge memory.
if
even
both of
5
them are
gigs.
going like full backwards compatibility, which
Give me
again
5 terabytes.
pretty much sounds like that's what everybody's going for, is to make sure we can play everything. You can use all of your old like stuff with the newer systems. Like everybody, so far everything's been like, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're
Right.
doing this, we're doing
what
this.
sets
we're
what
doing
sets
this.
you apart? Oh, you're more expensive. Oh, that's what sets you apart.
Right,
Okay.
so that's the thing. Like, I think if Sony comes out at 500, Xbox, like Microsoft, really has to look at it and go,
like the PlayStation 4 came out at a really competitive price too.
4.
Yeah.
Really good price.
well,
Like
again,
$3.99.
because they knew,
I think it came out at $3.99.
because Xbox One came out, and Xbox was like, we're the first ones out of the gate, we can charge whatever we want to.
Correct.
And then all of a sudden, PlayStation
Now
comes
it's the
out.
inverse where we announce our price. We might not come out before you,
Yeah.
but
Yes, we might have come out, but we're giving you our price point,
Right.
and now Microsoft has to go,
and I guess that's a part of the reason why Sony split off from E3 is that they can make this announcement
anytime. they want to.
anytime. Whereas with Microsoft, they've cornered themselves into we're going to do something at E3.
Yeah.
When's E3? Oh, also who goes to E3?
It's still big enough, but
Like,
and
it's-
then that's
Yeah.
but that's
But they-
the piece now is Microsoft has to look at it as if they come out, if they're planning 600, then
or even more expensive than the PlayStation.
sure, anything higher, people are gonna go, I'll just wait for a PlayStation.
Because
Whereas-
they've said not only it's cheaper, I can play my PS4 games, I can play my PS3 games. I also don't need to get another controller if I want multiplayer games.
But again, Xbox is doing the exact, like, those points are all the same. It's now essentially $500,
or
$600,
or $550 or whatever.
whatever
is
it happens to be. Either way, it's like, I will just wait for the PlayStation then, because
Right.
all of my new gen games I can play for $100 cheaper,
And
on
who kno-
top of the bonuses of
And on top of whatever they
plus VR.
plus VR, Spider-Man follow-up,
Sure.
Final Fantasy 16.
Yay.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever.
I mean that'll get people.
Sure.
People
It'll
will
get people.
People
Their
will.
exclusives will get people.
Yeah, exactly. Gran
Yes.
Turismo.
God of War.
Like Xbox does
Whatever
that.
whatever Naughty Dog is doing. Like I'm
Sure.
always ready for what Naughty
I
Dog
told you,
does.
Uncharted in space.
Yep.
Totally word. I'm gonna make this jump. Still making this jump.
2
Hold
hours
on,
later.
hold on. I'm almost there.
But that's the thing, like Xbox with Game Pass, I think that's great. Like I think Xbox is going in a good direction with things, but yeah, if they're $100 more, it ain't gonna happen.
No, they again they'll be
And hopefully someone there is smart enough to go, we're gonna lose money if we don't drop the price. Although there's gonna be someone in that company going, we're gonna lose money if we drop the price.
right.
You're not gonna make up those sales with
And-
that extra
and-
$100 a unit.
And honestly, like we're getting to that generation where even though the Series X, if it is more powerful,
Yeah.
if the PlayStation 5
one
still
cares.
does what that still does, like if they're still like it's the games that matter,
Correct. So if Cyberpunk is coming out on both of them,
and they look relatively comparable.
they will, because again, graphics. can only go so far.
We're getting to that point where it's like it's so hard to it's so hard to differentiate.
But 16 8K, no one. Again, I upgraded to a 4K TV.
I don't know.
Right.
Like, yes, there are little details that look better, but again,
like if I'm gonna play Cyberpunk, it's gonna be on a console that
PS5
I'm gonna want.
Break.
Right. Or it's the differences are gonna be so negligible. I still have a 1080p TV.
sure,
Like it's gonna be no difference
which is
to
a
me.
perfectly great TV.
Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't.
Yep.
It's fine for the time being.
Yeah.
I will eventually get a second one.
The only reason I got a new TV is because the TV we do this stuff off of was starting to, like, if I hit the power button, it would change
out.
the source.
Yeah, it would conk
and
out.
it's like
It will conk out.
Retro.
Essentially conked out.
something was starting to go. So
Right.
it's like we moved that TV here.
Like I do plan on getting a new TV
And-
for my basement.
I was
So,
going to say you have extra rooms now for
yes,
more television.
I can do that.
Yes.
That is
TV in every room.
Almost.
That actually was in the comp. We actually did talk about that at one point in time.
1, 2. I've moved
I would-
televisions into
I'm-
the bathroom.
As a sideway, I kind of want to put like a little rail where in front of the toilet.
Yeah.
Where I can put the switch.
Put the little,
I kind of want to do that
Mini TV there.
a little bit. I'll do a little bit.
Just put a little mini TV.
But yeah, like it's my 1080p TV. My set's fine. There's a little like ding on the corner, but that's because I've had that TV for eons.
But it
And
still
so
works. Like, you're not going to get a new
It
TV
totally
if your
works.
TV still works. So,
Right.
again,
I'm not
you're
going to
to
notice
switch
the
that
difference.
TV to a 4K TV and go, oh, I can see that tiny little thing there
Or it's
now.
brighter, or it's clearer, or whatever.
Sure, but at the same point, like, you're
And so,
still
like-
playing Call of Duty.
Right, you're still playing Call of Duty. You're still playing Cyberpunk. You're
Yeah.
still playing Dying Light or whatever it is. It's
Yeah.
the people that really care about that stuff are the people who make videos on YouTube and do the whole like side by side comparison.
Sure,
like,
because they make cash on YouTube for making side-by-side comparison
Correct.
videos. Whereas, like, again, I moved from... It was during Spider-Man, because I'm like, this will be a good way to tell if I can actually see a huge difference.
I mean, like you
Colors were a little bit brighter.
I would love to get a TV with HDR though. I will say I would rather have an HDR set than a 4K set, just
Yeah.
because I'd like having those brighter colors, and
But
I can tell my set doesn't have that.
But that's what I mean,
But
it's like-
I'm very much used to that as well.
Sure, but that's what I mean. It's like 4K, 8K is minuscule in terms of stuff. So it's like, well, we're putting more power into it. And it's like, yay.
The problem with that is you also have to realize how much more power it takes to power that
Oh,
TV.
sure.
Like your power bills are probably
Well,
astronomical.
And then your games are going to take longer in development because
correct.
now they have to step. Like, that's why our games have increased in prices and all of that kind of thing. And game development time is taking longer is because
Yes, delays. What delays?
because games aren't just this. It's now
They have to make sure they have developed for a PC now, because PC is a huge piece too, because they
Yeah.
can't guarantee what video cards everyone has, so it has to make sure they have to make sure the game runs on a good gamut of common cards.
Yeah. Which is, yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, when it comes to Xbox versus PlayStation, again, I'm just more inclined to buy a PlayStation anyways because
It's the games.
I already have, yeah, and again, like, I'm going to play Uncharted. I'm going to play God of War. I'm going to play Spider-Man. Like, that's
Oh, yeah.
cool.
Last of Us
stuff.
2, like Last of Us 2
Although
might.
online doesn't
Online's
matter.
online is
matter.
now mostly negligible because
They're both-
crossplay.
They're, yeah.
The only benefit to us playing on, like, Call of Duty on PlayStation is we can use the PlayStation
Yeah.
party system to chat.
The Last of Us 2, the reason why that was pushed back too could be a PlayStation 5 launch title too.
Sure.
Like a cross release where it's on PlayStation 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Or even weirder if it's like you buy the PlayStation 4 version and you get the 5, and you put it in within like a couple months into a 5, you get the 5 version as well.
Yeah, but again, that's where Microsoft's pushing that one by GameX on,
EA
Xbox
used-
One and
EA used to do that.
yep.
I have a copy of Battlefield 4 on PlayStation 3 and I gave them $10 and I have a copy of it on PlayStation 5 before. Sorry.
So yeah, it'll be
So-
interesting to see because I mean, those two duking it out is pretty much what features do I get with your console that I don't get on the other one, and then the
Right.
other one's like we have to add that feature. How are we going to add that feature? Because again,
without making it too expensive.
without
Or-
adding more money to things.
Right.
So.
And I think Sony kind of taking the lower route.
Oh yeah, you
And
got to go
making it-
low.
Like
Because again, as soon as you pass $500 for a console, people start going.
yes, I remember when the series. I remember when the
$1,000 for a box that plays video games.
I remember when the Xbox One X came out, and it was like it was close to $600.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
That's what I mean. Like, and again, I get that the tech going into it is expensive because I've built a computer and
it seems good.
There's prices that go into that, but again, for a console,
they never make money on consoles.
No, and that's the piece. Is you got to know you're making money off of games.
It's the software. It's even the peripherals that you're selling that you make the money back. You never make money back on a console.
Yeah, when they're selling controllers for $80, $90, that's where you're making money. Because
if you're reusing the controllers, it doesn't matter.
Or they advertise it so that the PlayStation 5 controller has a feature that doesn't exist.
You can't get on a PlayStation 4.
Back buttons or something like that.
Back buttons, a more interactive touchscreen, like the Xbox controller. The new Xbox Series X controller has a share button on it now.
Ooh.
They added a third middle button.
Yo, game changer! They figured it out. They figured it out before anyone. Oh wait, hold on.
But again, the nice piece is like
hold on. Literally, Nintendo beat them to that too.
But it's like I don't need a share button on my controller, and it's like, and they're like, that's fine. Then use your Xbox One.
Yeah.
But I can go into a menu and hit a button. Like a share button on my controller is not a.
Can I just request that, like for not just Sony but for Microsoft as well, please put a USB-C on your charging port?
Oh yeah, please.
Please, for the love of God, please. Literally, it's your controllers and my wife's phone that is keeping me in the micro USB age. Every device of mine is USB-C. My battery, like my charging, like my.
My charging.
That's not something I use all the time. Phones we use all the time. The controllers we use all the time.
Yeah.
Those are Type-C all the things.
Or wireless, I'm cool with.
Okay, iPhone.
My Google Pixel does wireless.
Do you read that thing about the iPhone?
No. Oh yeah, they want to get rid of all the port
no ports. No ports.
The only downside to no ports is you can't charge and use it at the same time.
The other downside is waste. You think about how many lightning cables are made, not just from Apple, but from like every other third party.
Well, they might be screwed anyways because the EU wants everybody on the same cables right now anyway, so they might have to ditch the lightning cables as is.
Type-C, all the things.
Type-C, all the things.
Type-C, all. They already do it with the iPad.
Yeah.
They already do it with the MacBook Air or one of the MacBooks.
Whatever, I don't know.
Or what? They do it with the laptop.
I haven't been in an Apple store in forever.
Ditto. Yeah. I walk past it and go to the Samsung store more than I do. They've got that folding phone.
I have to see it.
Yeah, and then you see it and you go, oh, okay.
That's exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Oh, okay. I don't know what else I expected. It's cool, but... so rumors about the PlayStation 5 event, early February.
Yeah, we'll know more in like...
a couple weeks, maybe?
A couple weeks.
Yeah. Price, pre-orders, launch lineups.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it for the show. I think that's all we got.
Stay tuned for the post-credit show.
We talk about movies we watched, games we played, and
other sort of nerd junk we've done.
Everything else.
Bye.
We'll see you guys soon.
Bye.